Pressure commits outcomes before stability is even assumed. Time accepts no appeal once tolerance is granted. What feels neutral already carries direction. Silence is not absence, here it is permission. Accumulating unnoticed. Decisions do not announce themselves when they become irreversible. Loss begins long before it becomes visible. Momentum does not wait for certainty, it replaces it. Once alignment slips, every remaining option narrows without resistance. What follows is not escalation, only continuation without remaining leverage. Pressure enters before stability is recognized because intake volume commits consequences without pause. Once tolerance is granted at the start, every downstream correction inherits shrinking authority. Control here is refusal, not reaction, and delay quietly multiplies cost. Heat does not stabilize material, it locks decisions already made upstream. When momentum passes, this point reversal stops being mechanical and becomes theoretical. What survives conditioning does so because failure was filtered early. Uniform flow feels calm only because variation has been suppressed, not eliminated. Every even layer carries the memory of what was excluded to achieve it. Precision here determines whether disorder reappears later or is merely postponed without detection. Acceleration rewards alignment and punishes hesitation simultaneously. Once streams merge, individuality is erased and responsibility becomes collective. Errors no longer belong to components, they belong to the system. Thin transformations carry thick consequences when margins narrow. Flaking appears gentle, yet it commits structure that cannot be restored afterward. Material remembers pressure long after motion appears smooth. Balance here is maintained only by constant denial of excess. What enters these paths is already judged acceptable, not correctable. Silence during transfer often marks the moment choice is no longer recognized. The system begins extracting value before loss becomes visible. Once solvent meets structural separation is no longer optional, only directional. Control now depends on what was prepared earlier, not what is adjusted here. Contact appears uniform, while penetration is uneven by nature. Solvent finds weakness faster than intention ever could. What dissolves quietly determines what survives loudly. Movement across trays looks steady because resistance has been normalized. Each perforation enforces consequence without explanation. By the time flow feels predictable, commitment has already replaced judgment. Parallel repetition does not reduce risk, it amplifies it. Identical actions multiply both accuracy and error. Understanding separates operators from observers because silence here equals missed recognition. Discharge confirms decisions made far upstream. What exits compressed does so after every chance to recover has passed. Removal is not correction, it is acceptance of loss. Coordination feels precise, only while timing holds. Once synchronization slips, recovery becomes asymmetrical and expensive. Momentum favors whatever remains aligned longest. Concentration is not accumulation, it is subtraction. Completed successfully. Vapor leaves, because it must not,
Bleaching
because it is
reaction
invited.
proceeds under controlled
What remains
temperature.
thickens with
Interior
every silent
colorway showing
departure.
uniform motion, then macro of color lightening within the flow.
Heat exposes impatience faster than error. Thin films forgive nothing once thresholds are crossed. Control here means restraint, not acceleration. Recovery stabilizes value by admitting what cannot stay. Solvent returns because boundaries were enforced earlier. Misset separation always returns as downstream pressure. Clarity at this stage reflects discipline, not luck. Filtration removes what negotiation failed to resolve. Forward motion continues only because resistance was paid for earlier, not because risk is gone. Chemical precision replaces mechanical certainty here. Reactions proceed without concern for intention. Once phases separate, reversal is no longer chemically meaningful. Rotation accelerates consequences beyond visual comprehension. Centrifugal force does not hesitate for confirmation. Errors leave faster than they arrive. Neutralization stabilizes only what is allowed to persist. Soapstock forms as proof of earlier excess. Silence during reaction often hides the last moment to intervene. Lightening color does not lighten responsibility. Adsorption captures history along with impurities. What binds here will not release later. Vacuum strips what patience could not preserve. Volatility leaves because pressure demands it. Control now is measured by what no longer appears. Cooling feels like rest, but it is regulation. Continuing quietly. Temperature stabilizes outcomes already fixed. Calm motion here signals discipline maintained earlier. Feeling reveals truth without explanation. Containers accept only what remains consistent. Final output moves forward because every earlier chance to fail was denied. Motion has ended and what remains exists, only because every earlier refusal held. Few recognize why this endpoint could not arrive differently, because understanding never distributes itself evenly. Recognition belongs to those aligned with consequence, while silence remains unverified and separate.